This is my audience.
In our country, nearly 32% of children and adolescents are either overweight or obese. And the issue of obesity is on a rise in America. The problem is very significant because more and more families are falling victim to it every day. There are many factors that contribute to childhood obesity. These include stress, diet, sedentary lifestyle, and most important, low socioeconomic status. And this is because it encompasses all of the other factors. So the first factor that I would like to discuss is diet. Child's diet and eating patterns play a huge role in the obesity epidemic. Our country has changed over the decades. Families are rushing from work to school to sports and other extracurricular activities. The families have become fast-paced. There's no time to eat inside home, and because of this, the food has also become fast-paced. In the article, Child Eating and Activity Patterns and Obesity, Kay Gibbons discussed how childhood obesity has changed and increased in recent years. Gibbons says that children in America are now eating more meals outside the home than ever. Consequently, these meals are usually higher in fat than food made inside the home. Fast food and store-bought snacks are becoming a replacement for good home-cooked meals. For this reason, children in America are developing unhealthy eating habits that are contributing to childhood obesity. The second factor that I would like to discuss is stress. Stress is also a huge cause of childhood obesity. When a child is stressed, it can affect their dietary patterns, physical activity, and other behaviors that contribute to their weight. In the article, Stress in Early Life and Childhood Obesity Risk, A. Miller examines how early life stressors are a huge cause of the obesity epidemic in children. She states that early life stress exposure may disrupt hormones that regulate appetite, metabolism, and fat storage, and thus increase the risk for obesity, unhealthy eating behaviors, and or unhealthy fat deposition patterns. Additionally, Miller states that a high level of stress can disrupt a child's sleep and cause them to be less physically active. Stress is usually caused by external factors. In a child's life, a child can gain stress from adverse childhood experiences, poverty, food insecurity, and relationships with parents and caregivers. It is important for parents to prevent these situations in order to decrease their child's stress and help them live a healthy life. Another cause of childhood obesity is a sedentary lifestyle. Computers, televisions, video games are keeping our children on the couch. Due to all this screen time, physical activity has largely decreased in the children of our society. Children no longer want to go outside and play, but would rather sit in front of a TV for 5 hours. In addition to a lack of physical activity at home, funding for physical education programs and other extracurricular sports programs have drastically been cut in schools. In the article, Defeating Childhood Obesity, T. Schwager listed the three reasons why childhood obesity is so common in our society. Schwager blames lack of physical activity, heredity, media, and poor nutrition as the culprit of childhood obesity. She states that today's youth are considered the most inactive generation in history, caused in part by reduction in school physical education programs and unavailable or unsafe community recreation facilities. Ultimately, many children are not meeting the level of physical activity needed to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Last and most significant cause of childhood obesity is a family's socioeconomic status. So in this map, this is done by the U.S. Census Bureau, and they released a study on the percentage of people in poverty in America. So in this figure, you can see that the amount of people living in poverty, the dark blue represents people where states where 30% more of the population is obese. And then, so if you can see right here, I have it circled, this is where 30% or more population is obese. And then the next slide, we can see that this is done by the Center for Disease Control. So the dark red represents states where there is 50% or more people who are obese. So this shows an obvious correlation between poverty and obesity in the United States. A large part of a child's lifestyle and health depends on their patterns and the environment they were raised in. Unfortunately, children and families with a low socioeconomic status are more vulnerable to all the other causes that provoke obesity, including diet, stress, and a sedentary lifestyle. So next, I'd like to talk about how how low socioeconomic status plays a role in all of these factors. So first, I'd like to discuss diet. So a healthy diet full of foods rich in nutrition is not affordable for parents with a low SES. Adrianowski, the professor of epidemiology and medicine at the University of Washington, performed a study on food choices and diet costs. The study concluded that it's easier for low-income people to sustain themselves on junk food rather than fruits and vegetables. High-fat, energy-dense food is more convenient. These high-density foods are also more accessible. Health food stores like Trader Joe's and Whole Foods are usually not found in more rural neighborhoods. If families in the neighborhoods were looking for more healthy food options, they would have more trouble and less accessibility to healthy foods than those who lived in high SES neighborhoods. Janowski also concluded that a 2,000 calorie diet would just cost $3.52 a day if it consisted of junk food, compared with $36.32 a day for diets of low energy dense foods. In other words, a 2,000 calorie diet consisting of healthier foods costs approximately $12,000 more yearly than an unhealthier diet. Not every family can afford this healthy diet, especially those with a low SES. Next, I'd like to talk about how low SES impacts stress. So a child raised in poverty is exposed to different life stressors on a daily basis. Miller argued many risk factors that contribute to early life stress are related to poverty. Living in poverty is often characterized by high levels of adversity and stress, and by limited opportunities to buffer the effects of stress. When in poverty, parents have to worry constantly if they can provide for their family, if they will be able to feed their family, and if they will be able to pay their bills. This stress is constantly felt by the child, and it's very easy and transferable to the child, and they will also feel that stress. This stress in return affects the child's daily behaviors and their risk for childhood obesity more than a child from a high SES family. Then the last one I want to talk about is the sedentary lifestyle. And how it correlates with low SES. When it comes to physical activity, children raised in poverty tend to have less of it. This is mainly because they do not have as many opportunities to be physically active. If you think about the neighborhoods, usually higher poverty neighborhoods are less safe, and so parents would rather have their children inside, safe, on video games than outside in an unsafe neighborhood, which decreases the child's physical activity. Another reason that they have less physical activity is usually poverty-stricken schools have less funding, so less funding towards physical activity, less funding towards sports. So these students will not have as many opportunities to be in sports or not have great physical education programs, which again affects their physical activity and their childhood obesity rates. They will not provide as many opportunities for the students to be physically active. So, in conclusion, diet, stress, and a sedentary lifestyle are three factors that are prominent causes in the issues of childhood obesity. However, a family's socioeconomic status contributes to every one of these factors, which is why it is the most significant factor that contributes to childhood obesity. There is a strong correlation between low SES and a child's risk of obesity. Thus, if poverty were to decrease in America, so would unhealthy diet patterns, lack of physical activity, stress, and the overall risk of obesity would decrease immensely. Thank you.